Okay, so thank you very much, Andrew. And so, as always, we begin by acknowledging those who came before us on this land. I do say a land acknowledgement. So we begin today by acknowledging that we walk upon the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples. We recognize their history, spirituality, culture, and stewardship of the land. We're grateful to all Indigenous groups for their commitment to protect the land and its resources, and we're committed to reconciliation, partnership, and enhanced understanding. We acknowledge the land we are on here, meeting in the Greater Toronto Area, is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe peoples, and is now home to many diverse peoples. We'd also like to acknowledge the land we're on is at the meeting place of two treaties, the lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit and those of the First Nations of the Williams Treaty. We would thank them and other Indigenous peoples for sharing this land with us. We also acknowledge and recognize all of the world's Indigenous peoples as stewards of Mother Earth. I like to say as well, Sawubona. This means I see you, I see myself in you, I see your hopes, your dreams, and your struggles, and I see your ancestors as well. Because interconnectedness does not end with two people who are greeting each other. It extends to include the ancestors. All beings in Mother Nature being connected, there is no sense of being separate. I see myself in all beings, and therefore, if I harm other beings or Mother Nature, it translates into harming myself. So before I get going with my presentation, I do, as always, like to talk about the events that are coming up. This month is June, International Children's Month, where international children love, grace, and resilience, with the theme Grace and Resilience being for 2022. And so I will share a link in the chat for International Children's Month, as I read to you. This is also National Indigenous History Month here in Canada for all of June 2022. This is the month we commemorate the heritage, diverse cultures, and outstanding achievements of First Nation, Inuit, and Métis. Again, in the chat is some information. World Food Safety Day was actually just 2 days ago, June 7th, last Tuesday. Again, in the chat, you'll see World Food Safety Day is described as a shared responsibility between government, producers, and consumers. And so yesterday as well was World Oceans Day, again in the chat, Wednesday, June 8th, with it being an international day that takes place annually, proposed by Canada's International Centre for Ocean Development and the Ocean Institute of Canada at the Earth Summit way back in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. This is a busy month again. It is June. Coming up on June 12th is the World Day Against Child Labor. It is the International Labour Organization sanctioned holiday, first launched in 2022, aiming to raise awareness and activism to prevent child labor. As well, on June 14th, Tuesday, is World Blood Donor Day. And so every year, people celebrate World Blood Donor Day, raising awareness for the need for safe blood and blood products, and to thank voluntary unpaid blood donors for the life-saving gifts of blood. As well, coming up before our event next week is World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day on Wednesday, June 15th. And so that was launched in 2006 by the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse and World Health Organization of the UN. Again, in the chat are some more information. And of course, we can't forget our recent 2022 AHIABGA UnityNet Abraham Project tree planting that just happened this past Sunday. So the globally coordinated event took place Sunday, June 5th, World Environment Day, starting in whatever hour the local residents chose. Here in Toronto, we did 2 tree plantings in the city of Mississauga. The first one at Meadowwood Park, 44 Apple Lane, with the support of the city of Mississauga, who actually donated 10 trees to us with 5 different species. And the second event was at the Continental Dance Club, 3141 Wharton Way, with the support of the owner, Brian Torner, a world champion trainer and choreographer, and a 15-time world championship adjudicator and champion ballroom dancer. So the 2 events, you can find the links to the Eventbrite pages in the chat. One thing I wanted to mention was with the tree plantings, we didn't do it this year, but we will next year. The Indigenous Unity flag was not flown this year, but we will plan to do so next year. So in recognition of the unity of humanity, which is actually far more important than our individual lives and the machinations of our political leaders, who just don't seem to get or understand that people are equal, that God or Mother Nature, or however you define it, loves all things on earth and all the things in the universe equally. So we begin as early as possible this year to start preparing for next year's June 5th, 2023 World Environment Day tree planting here in the city of Markham, by working, starting with my own city councillor, Issa Lee, who is quite supportive of our activities. So we're also working with our counterparts in Africa, of course, and in the USA, in California, in New York, as well as the EDFU Foundation, the African Coaches League, Cash Community Development, and other organizations. So Cash Community Development is a Native American-owned, managed 501(c)(3) nonprofit designed to address the financial needs of natives throughout the US, Alaska, and Hawaii. We want to make sure that for every tree of peace and reconciliation planted in the world, that we have a commemorative plaque and a flagpole erected beside the tree, as well as an Indigenous Unity flag raising ceremony at the time of the planting, along with the Pledge of Allegiance to empower our local humanitarian entrepreneurs, what we call our FFHE, who are implementing the local solutions to achieving the global goals locally. So that we place the flag next to the tree, so they become sacred spaces in all our communities and symbols of peace, reconciliation, forgiveness, compassion, collaboration, and regeneration. So that people involved in the planting ceremonies also sign a commitment to leave no one behind in their own local community, ensuring that they pledge to commit to support all of us in all our local communities to move forward together in support of decolonization and re-indigenization of our minds and our physical spaces in lockstep with the Indigenous people of the world. So upcoming as well is our 3rd Tea Diplomacy Initiative event. It's not yet published on Eventbrite. We're almost ready to do so. This will take place Saturday, June 18th, starting at 8. We do it on June 18th because that's Sustainable Gastronomy Day. So again, in the chat, you will find some information about Sustainable Gastronomy Day. So we again are looking for more partners. So if you want your NGO or humanitarian enterprise to be featured, especially if you work for a UN Global Compact member organization, please contact me so I can add your logo, website, description to the next Tea Diplomacy page. Now, unfortunately, the Eventbrite page is fairly full. We can't actually add any more logos. They only allow 100 elements to be added to the page. So unfortunately, that we may be putting up a separate website for that purpose, so we can feature more partners of our events. So again, in the chat, you will find more information about all of the things I talked about, as well as a link to the upcoming 3rd UnityNet International Tea Diplomacy Initiative event, which is soon to be published. So I will now share my screen. Hold on a second. To start our presentation. So I do always start the presentation by giving recognition to our supporters or sponsors, in particular Andrew Networks, the door opening network of the global UnityNet, and these Zoom calls, which were committed to take place through December 29th, 2023. Andrew's also rebroadcasting production-ready episodes on the IGU.org domain, redirected to UCIT-TV site. Our logo indicates that this is 21 to 23 IGU Summit. We do plan on delivering these every Thursday until the end of 2023. Again, in alignment with UN Global Compact 2021-3 to 23 vision and strategy. In the chat are some links very important for that. And so you do see on this page Maui Aloha Project, 5 Points Youth Foundation, AHIABGA, Future Lift Foundation, Global Peace Let's Talk, American International Education Federation, EDFU Foundation, Conservancy Trust, Saga Foundation, LA Global Foundation, and our logos for the Tree of Peace and Reconciliation, Greater Unity Network, Indigenous Unity Flag, Unity 4K Clubs, Heptamatrix Partnership, Template, and many others as well. So again, in the chat, you'll find some additional links to all of these organizations. So Andrew Networks donates our hosting and promotional support services. They are a brand and a domain name owned by ParXTC Export Trading Company, comprising social media channels like TRN TV's, Universal Citizens Media Network, Conversations with Andrew Williams Jr., and others. Andrew Networks is our primary sponsor supporting the promotional ecosystem for our UnityNet initiative. This Indigenous Global Unity Summit continues again through the end of 2023. Andrew is our Yes, Yes, Yes partner, is helping to open doors so that members of our network are able to discover their inner selves and passions. Andrew Networks is also working with people who occupy the nodes of our global unity network so they can come together with the people, acting like a net to support the dreams of our members and leverage the passions and transform their visions into a reality that makes sense for themselves and their communities, however they might define the better future collectively as they seek to work together in partnership and leave no one behind. So again, in the chat, there's information about Andrew. So Andrew also founded the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors, Advocates, and Activists in September 2019. We have a focus on globalizing the Sustainable Development Goals during this decade of action and delivery of the SDGs, so 2020 to 2030. Andrew later appointed me as representative for Canada, La Francophonie, the Commonwealth of Nations countries on January 1st, 2020, and Turtle Island in early 2021. Again, the ambassadors are in the chat, so there's a link for people to see. So I am Lloyd Halferty, Chief Ecosystem Director, Program Development Director, Sustainable Society Consultant for Energem University, headquartered in Manhattan. I'm located in the city of Markham in the Don River watershed, which drains into Lake Ontario, the lowest and last of the North American Great Lakes, in the Greater Toronto area, Southern Ontario, Canada, on Turtle Island. So Energem University is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit company in New York, a member of the UN Global Compact, a UN academic impact member and partner. Energem is a virtual university created to help empower global populations to reestablish a sustainable balance with their local environments. We do this by designing and implementing projects to support a strong and diversified local economy, while integrating core sustainable technologies and infrastructure into the communities in the areas, especially of renewable energy, high-density food growth solutions and systems for managing local waste streams and protecting local water resources. We are supported by over 375 companies whose products and technologies we employ. We also support local education and training in the construction, deployment, and maintenance of all the various integrated solutions for achieving these closed loop systems that support self-sufficient, sustainable communities. Again, in the chat, you will find my connections, some ways for you to reach me. I am also the co-founder administrator of We Energize Global Cooperation Turtle Island International Civil Society Organization. We are seeking to undertake something called life value peace education in the context of life learning gardens. Again, in the chat, you'll find information. I am also designated as a Goodwill Ambassador for the 5 Points Youth Foundation in Los Angeles. The portfolio, again, Canada, La Francophonie, the Commonwealth of Nations, and Turtle Island communities. As a member of the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors and Activists, we are seeking to empower our communities to engage with royal, Indigenous, and tribal leadership, as well as helping local communities establish interfaith, neighborhood, academic, and business collaboratives that will come together and pledge to support all of the local humanitarian entrepreneurs who are globalizing the global goals. We start with the Sustainable Development Goals because that is where we are, but we are seeking as well ways to leave no one behind. Again, in the chat, you'll find some links. So I am the co-founder of the Global Unity Network, now called UnityNet, established by UnityNet International, which helped to create UnityNet Africa and Diaspora and all the other global groups in Asia and Americas and Europe. The Global Unity Business Group originally came together as a coalition of small businesses to establish, manage, and grow the Global Unity Network we call UnityNet. The result of the original Global Unity Business Group was as a humanitarian enterprise, a global sustainable and regenerative development corporation, supporting and promoting local delivery of open source regenerative climate smart infrastructure set up as life learning gardens, along with a hybrid virtual learning platform we call the VCN, or the Interchange for Peace. We are being rebranded now as UnityNet International in alignment with our first continental chapter, UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. So the original Global Unity Business Group, created to formalize this ad hoc international advisory board process of localization of global goals, starting with the SDGs, is being done by the establishment of the Global Unity Network, including Unity Gardens and Unity Learning Networks, along with other dedicated UnityNet nodes and chapters, all being important components of what we call a network of networks. The latest way to describe who we are is a network of people and organizations supporting the ad hoc international advisory board process of localization of global goals at the SDGs and the global transition to a compassionate, collaborative, regenerative economy that leaves no one behind. So essentially, we're creating a global empowerment network of professionals in regenerative development to support all of our members, including the female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs who are helping to implement the local regenerative climate smart solutions that are required to achieve this compassionate, collaborative, regenerative economy that leaves no one behind. So I wanted to note again, the existing social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn groups that we're using are being used as placeholders as we build the global network and prepare to launch. We'll eventually get all of the people, companies, and nodes of the network onto this Interchange for Peace VCN, where they'll be able to gain access to the many tools and services that are available and allow them to much more easily collaborate to locally implement all the globally coordinated real-world projects, events, enterprises, and infrastructure. Again, in the chat, there's more information about this network. So the Global Unity Network, UnityNet, was created to showcase global cooperation for the implementation of the local regenerative solutions for achieving the global goals, starting with the 17 SDGs. Our goal is to help uplift the traditionally marginalized communities that are mostly being left behind, because the existing economic paradigm is focused on making money for those who are already wealthy, by extracting resources through the exploitation of people and the natural world, and therefore the majority of people on Earth are mostly being ignored by our existing highly competitive economy. So our focus is on the billions of people who exist or sometimes subsist on the economic sidelines. And we intend to start our work by helping local communities deliver local regenerative climate smart enterprise solutions that people and communities in some of the least developed countries, communities, and local economies require in order to thrive. So our entry point, we are focused in particular on communities that are the most food insecure. Again, in that you'll find some information about global Unity Net. So UnityNet is promoting the delivery of a suite of practical solutions to achieving the global goals, starting with the Sustainable Development Goals. During this period until 2030, we are focused on using the tools of humanitarian entrepreneurship, focusing on our female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs and enterprises, what we call FFHE, using hybrid, virtual, and hands-on education and training and learning programs, platforms, and curricula, with a primary focus on delivering the various humanitarian entrepreneurship skills training in these practical settings or practicum learning. So we are leveraging open source regenerative climate smart infrastructure solutions to remotely assist local INAP collaborative teams, establish local collaborative open source Unity Garden classrooms, and all local communities around the world can participate. So the Unity Garden classrooms are set up in collaboration with existing schools and local communities and can be used for the local and remote and virtual delivery of these practical learning programs for all of our FFHE members. So they can learn how to grow, process, cook, market, sell, and trade the various types of regenerative climate smart food and nutritional and medicinal and other types of locally produced regenerative products, both within their own local communities, as well as regionally, nationally, continentally, and even internationally, in order to produce income and greater prosperity for themselves and for the people in their own local communities. For all people on all continents, again, with the intention and goal of leaving no one behind. I put into the chat today the link to the Unity Smart Cities Network. So we also promote through our virtual social marketing all of the members of the network. We use the various practical social media networking trade tools, including those of the modern fourth industrial revolution. So we're combining wisdom of the crowds with deep indigenous knowledge of both our ancestors and the living indigenous people of the earth in order to learn from each other about how to share the abundance of this planet in order to create productive, regenerative, climate smart landscapes wherever we may live in and around each and all of our local communities. So our intention is also to help restore nature and biodiversity, to ensure abundance for all, and ultimately restore the human connection to Mother Earth as proper stewards of our one and only beautiful planet. So the important note of our network related to this is the Unity Biodiversity Network. So the Ad hoc International Advisory Board process of localization of the global goals is intended to help everyone in each of their own local communities establish the local teams of humanitarian entrepreneurs, as well as the local community empowerment network, the INAP collaboratives that provide support and ensure the success of the local cooperative humanitarian enterprises who are building Unity Gardens. So the Unity Gardens are intended to be established as local communities across our global network, most likely starting in Africa, but here in North America and Asia as well. The process of establishing the INAP collaboratives is done by taking part in the recent Abraham project we did just on Sunday. This is the Tree of Peace and Reconciliation ceremony starting on Sunday, June 5th, World Environment Day, but continuing throughout the planting season locally wherever we are. So some communities also established twin trees of peace and reconciliation and twin Unity Gardens. The twinning or thinning or quadrinning or more will be done through what we call the CTB program, a process of twinning the local community Unity Garden humanitarian enterprises and twinning the local community INAP collaboratives. So we're building a global network of local INAP collaboratives where all of the members in each local community empowerment network are interconnected and watching over and talking to each other at the global level. These local INAP collaboratives have a diverse set of members across 7 different sectors of every community, including public, private, civil society, academic, interfaith, finance, and orange economy, or the creative sector. We'll also be watching and promoting and helping each other and supporting the local female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs in each of the local communities who will be empowered by all of the members of the Global Unity Network, where all the activities are also intended to be transparent, and all members of the global network, including all members of the local INAB collaboratives, will also be accountable to and for the success of the local collaborative Unity Garden humanitarian enterprise in each of their own local communities. This means that if the local humanitarian entrepreneurs who are living in the local community fail to be successful as they build and run their local collaborative or cooperative community humanitarian enterprise, provided they're fully dedicated to making a success for all the members of the community, and especially for those who are the most marginalized in each of our own local communities, it will be up to those members to ensure that they do not fail. This is put on the shoulders as well of the local community INAB collaborative members for not having lived up to their obligations to support and empower the local community humanitarian entrepreneurs who would be building, operating, maintaining, and delivering the various community programs, events, interventions, goods, and services delivered in the context of the local community Unity Garden humanitarian enterprise. So I have been suggesting as well that every community Unity Garden humanitarian enterprise be established as a cooperative enterprise or business. The idea is to set up the local community business as a co-op so that the burden of running the business doesn't fall entirely on the shoulders of a single entrepreneur. Different business models can be tried, of course, in order to determine what model might actually work best. I do provide some information about cooperative enterprises in the chat. So the INAB collaboratives we are establishing at the local level, we're leveraging our process of community engagement, starting with the planting of the trees of peace and reconciliation, those ceremonies we did just last Sunday. These are followed by ongoing community engagement interactions through regularly scheduled events throughout the year, including the coordinated Bubble Fun festivals and sports events done in collaboration with the INAB collaborative members, along with the CTP program for twinning the community activities and the community organized tree plantings and any other local regenerative and public community infrastructure development projects or events. So we also have the Tea Diplomacy Initiative, the virtual community conversations on topics of peace, regeneration, reconciliation, forgiveness, the Dream Boards Initiative in collaboration with the C4 group members, and identification and engagement of local talent, artists, creative people in the Orange economy for the purpose of promoting and showcasing their talent, and especially as they promote the globalization of the global goals, and as well the compassionate, collaborative, regenerative economy that leaves no one behind, done through their art, especially during any of our periodic sunlight spectacle or other edutainment events throughout the year. So any other programs or activities that may be developed in the context of the climate smart gardens or forests, delivered with FBSC in collaboration, and the climate smart kitchens delivered by Kindred Kitchens in Toronto, the Wheel of Life Farms delivered by an organization called EPWT in Vietnam and the USA, and the Spark Learning Centers, or Climate Smart Learning Centers delivered by PodNet Cooperative Global. So I did insert this slide because those who may not have seen this before, the local INAB collaboratives are being expanded to try to include more critical partners, potentially including Bridges of Hope organization from Kenya, which would be focused on training FFHEs in the various regenerative and climate smart businesses and infrastructure solutions, and possibly also BIMA International, the Black Emergency Managers Association, which would help to bring together first responders like police, firefighters, paramedics from the local community, and help prepare the local entrepreneurs and enterprises, potentially position their businesses as hubs for taking action during emergencies or significant incidents that may happen in the community. I've also included a placeholder for the virtual cultural exchange office of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, established for the purpose of mutually supporting each of our own local communities, including the FFHE and the rest of the local INAB collaborative members, wherever it is each of us might live. Again, in the chat, you will find our UnityNet GTA links, which is the template we're using. So I had suggested that we might consider doing a Tea Diplomacy Initiative event during the week of solidarity with people struggling against racism and racial discrimination. That took place from 21st to 27th of March. I had suggested we begin on March 21st, which was a Monday, the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. So that also happened to be World Poetry Day and the International Day of Forests. So this did open up the possibility for us to do a virtual tea diplomacy event that included having conversations related to methods and processes of enabling and implementing solidarity with the people struggling against racism and racial discrimination, and discussing some of the local poets and poetry that influenced local cultures in each of our respective communities. So we also wanted to discuss the importance of establishing productive forests as biodiverse 3D polyculture food forests, established as Unity Forest, Unity Gardens in all our local communities, managed in partnership with local Indigenous peoples and all levels of government in every local community and country as an essential part of a process of practical reconciliation with all of the Indigenous peoples of the world, one country, one community, and one watershed at a time. So we did this event already, of course. I will now play for you a poem that was played during our first tea diplomacy event. It's about 2.5 minutes. Was read by a poet named Jack Black God, who is from a squatter camp called Diesloop in North Johannesburg, South Africa. You can find information about the tea diplomacy event by going to the link that I will share in the chat. Hold on just a second. I just like to share the links because I cannot share them.
We are people of our own color. 7 seas and 1 big ocean. It doesn't matter how big, small, dark, light, Christian or not you are. We all come from the same origins. Origins that when we trace footprints lead us to the central heart of Africa. Because Africa should unite and nothing will bite. Instead, we will forever have peaceful nights. Africa uniting wouldn't be bad, instead it will never hurt. Trees! Allow me to be your garden at least, so that I could plant these poetical seed into your cultivative mind with harvestic thoughts of negativities. We are still enslaved by our own memories. Right now, my broken, beaten bone skeleton wants to escape this flesh. My soul is rejecting this temple hospitality of one. You see, we were never told about the secret ingredients they used to cook this system. This system was cooked with a four-sized traditional pot, but we were never invited into the inns of financial taste. All you did, black child, was to feast on that racism that was served to you on a silver platter, so that my 7 colors, the shininess of it could blindfold you. Your I have fought has made deals for dessert, but what about the main meal, black child? We are still enslaved by our own memories. See, once upon a time there was I reciting poems with meaningless senses and unengineered sentence language construction. Therapy of my words wounded so many innocent souls, I'm lost in translation. Tongue clicks, Ubuntu transplant, guilty to innocent endless transformations. I'm so confused in my lost thoughts. Perhaps I'm losing it, isn't it? Yes, I've been here and they've all been there, distant relatives. 300 Spartans, the rise of my ancestors to you, godly amen. The last breathless word you would inhale. We are still enslaved by our own memories, yet we are 7 seas and 1 big ocean.
So we have now completed that first virtual tea diplomacy initiative event, as indicated on Monday, March 21st. The first tea diplomacy event, we we did ask leaders of high-level decision makers to sit down virtually, have a cup of tea with some of the UnityNet members at the grassroots level who are living and doing work in those marginalized communities around the world. So the conversations we asked our participants to discuss during those moderated virtual conversations between the sustainable development decision makers, professionals, and grassroots members who are doing some of the on-the-ground work in these local communities of the Global Unity Network were related to those three themes I mentioned on the previous slide. So the event was co-hosted by UnityNet International, which is building the network on behalf of the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board, along with the Global Forum for Sustainable Rural Development, Global Peace Let's Talk, and the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors and Activists. So at this point, I also want to play some music from Luvia M, a song called Tulan Lisio. As this is playing, I will also put the translated lyrics of the song into the chat. So the song is about 4.5 minutes long. And it is our new theme song for the Tea Diplomacy Initiative. We'll play it as well as the poem I just played at every Tea Diplomacy event. So our partners for this last Tea Diplomacy Initiative event were Andrew Networks, the World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity, Saga Foundation, Gemma Productions, We Energize Global Cooperation Turtle Island, Drada and Markham Climate Change Solutions Education and Training Hub, the Indigenous Global Unity Network, Carbon Shot Earth, Sustainable Marketplace for Climate Solutions, the Unity Women and Feminist Network, Tots and Kids South Africa, Jafoa Uganda, the National Federation of Women Farmers and Appropriate Technology Asia in Nepal, TriLife Foundation in Malawi, the Soweto CSI Council in South Africa, Gemma Skaters, Youth Development Program, Village Synergy Uganda, the Global Unity Business Group, Humanitarian Enterprise, and Global Sustainable and Regenerative Development Corporation, together with the organizations that support and promote this IGU Summit event, including the 5 Points Youth Foundation, EDFU Foundation, and Cycle of Success. Again, you'll find in the chat links to these organizations so that everybody will be able to find out more information about our partners around the world. So this just takes a second to do this. Because I would like everybody to have that information as well. So we do want to have, as I indicated, we have 2 more tea diplomacy events every year, including the second one, which we did on Saturday, May 21st, International Tea Day. This one is done already. May 21st is also the World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. This day celebrates not only the richness of the world's cultures, but also the essential role of intercultural dialogue for achieving peace and sustainable development. For the most recent Tea Diplomacy Initiative event, we also partnered with UnityNet Culture and Diversity members who are supporting the UnityNet International plans to establish these culturally relevant local Unity Garden infrastructure projects that reflect the local cultures of each country, city, community, or eco-village. The third Tea Diplomacy event will be later this month on Saturday, June 18th, which is Sustainable Gastronomy Day. We will also partner with the Plant-Based Climate Smart Food Network, the South Markham Food Security Network, and the Virtual Urban Food and Farming Network as well. So again, in the chat, you will find more information about International Tea Day, as well as some of our other networks, including the UnityNet Culture and Diversity Network discussion group and the Virtual Urban Food and Farming Network as well. So these are occasions to promote culture and highlight the significance of diversity. So again, the second Tea Diplomacy event is now complete, looking to develop more partnerships for the future events. So if you want to promote your local civil society organization, NGO, or humanitarian enterprise, please feel free to contact me so that UnityNet International, including Africa and Diaspora Continental Network, can also promote the work that you're doing to globalize the global goals in your own local community. Again, for the chat, put in the link to our most recent event so you can see partnerships that are shown there. So I want to mention the collaborative events that we're doing in 2022 are related to the activities of the Global Unity 4K Clubs Network and the Unity Gardens Network, as well as the Unity Eco Village Network and Biodiversity Network. So the first globally coordinated Abraham Project Tree of Peace and Reconciliation Showcase Project for Global Cooperation was delivered locally in multiple local communities by members of UnityNet, and that was done on World Environment Day just this past Sunday, June 5th. This was done here in Canada by the city, in the city of Mississauga, actually in partnership with them. We did it in 2 locations with a total of 11 trees planted, now allowing us to begin establishing a global network of local INAB collaboratives, these interfaith neighborhood academic and business collaboratives that lead the way in the local community everywhere in the world to undertaking the various globally coordinated events that we plan to do during the rest of the year. Again, in the chat, you'll find links to UnityNet African Diaspora and some of the other ones that are important to us. So the initial tree planting followed by Bubble Fun festivals, globally coordinated Bubble Fun festival events are designed to allow youth and families to have fun while they learn about the properties of bubbles, how to use bubbles to potentially allow humanity to more easily adapt and perhaps even thrive in a warming and changing global climate, especially in areas of the world that are impacted by global warming or climate change and will be felt more severely, such as here in Canada in the north, in mountainous areas, and in places like sub-Saharan Africa and South and Southeast Asia. So the dates of these globally coordinated community bubble fun festivals between August 9th, International Day for the World's Indigenous Peoples, also the International Day for Solidarity with the Struggle of People and Women of South Africa and Namibia, or Women's Day, August 12th, International Youth Day, and August 19th, World Humanitarian Day. So we can have local bubble fun festivals on any date between August 9th and August 19th, which is an 11-day window. Again, that are some of those buildings and links. So other key events taking place from Global Cooperation Day, October 4th through World Food Day, October 16th, are the Ubuntu Summit virtual event, actually on October 4th, as we did last year. This day is the feast day of St. Francis of Assisi and the Blessing of Animals Day, both celebrated by Catholic faith communities. Again, you'll see in the chat the link to last year's event. And then one of our most important events of the year is the Globally Coordinated Climate Smart Youth Forum event, designed to allow youth and families around the world to learn and discuss the various regenerative climate smart agriculture food growing solutions that support especially achieving SDG 2, zero hunger, and local circular regenerative economies that leave no one behind. So the people attending these hybrid events will learn about the Climate Smart Food Program and all the various components of the ad hoc international advisory board process of localization of the global goals and the smart virtual infrastructure, the Unity Gardens, the Interchange for Peace VCN, that allow local community INAB collaboratives to gain access to all of the learning programs, the information, the education, the training, and the support programs, including financial support systems that we've been promoting on this UnityNet. So these are the empowerment programs that allow the local community members and families to implement their local regenerative climate smart humanitarian infrastructure and enterprise solutions in the context of their own local neighborhoods and communities, wherever they might live. So the primary host for the Global Climate Smart Youth Forum Week 2022 event is intended to be Yali International in Nigeria, working in partnership with UnityNet Nigeria, UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, and many of the rest of the members of the Unity Network who wish to work and contribute to that. Yali International divided into two arms of youth education and a leadership initiative managed by Dr. Amadou Ande Amadou of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, Nigeria. So in the chat, we'll find again a few links to these upcoming events and networks. So the final optional event this year, still in the process of establishing the INAB collaboratives, the local teams, the globally coordinated community tree planting event designed to establish 3D polyculture food forests in the local communities around the world. We want to do this in any local UnityNet INAB collaboratives where they have been established, where the members of the local community partnerships wish to establish Unity forests, Unity gardens, designed for delivering the global Unity learning programs. So we're actually working with an organization, Tukitani EV, and their Women Empowerment Network and the Global Unity 4K Club humanitarian entrepreneurship learning programs for educating young people, their families, and other community members about the various ways of achieving food and nutrition security goals, basically zero hunger at the local level. So also implementing, of course, global goals such as climate action, biodiversity action, gender equality action, clean water, clean energy, and peace, along with no poverty actions in their local community enterprises. So we also aim, of course, to leave no one behind. And the globally coordinated community Unity Forest, Unity Garden tree planting events could be done during the proposed Climate Smart Youth Forum Week, which will likely also include a hybrid in-person and virtual conference event. So again, in the chat are some additional links. So the Unity Gardens of the UnityNet are encouraging co-learning or intercultural collaboration, what we call two-eyed seeing. The Unity Gardens are places where children are taught no one being is greater than the next, that we're part and parcel of the whole, that we are equal, and that each one of us has a responsibility to the balance of the system and an understanding that the world's species, all of our bio and eco kin have contributions to make. I wanted to point out that in the chat is more information about the idea of two-eyed seeing, or Atwapmung principle for intercultural collaboration. I mentioned as well the Honey Project, UnityNet International is doing with the Russley Poverty Alleviation pilot projects of Russley Institute in collaboration with UnityNet International and the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board, where the Honey Project is designed to demonstrate the production of certified climate smart honey produced from wildflowers grown on restored landscapes, such as former mine sites or other industrial or currently degraded lands, in order to produce abundance and revenue from what was once wasteland. So the Unity Honey Project is a bee honey harvesting project intended to support the Science for Peace CSF program for food certification and demonstration of PAGI payments paid to producers of certified products produced by our female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs, especially in support of and in partnership with local Indigenous communities. So the Unity Honey Project is designed as something that could potentially be university applied in a number of different jurisdictions, no matter what country or continent or local community. So the project ties into the Abraham Project process of integrating the CTP program for twinning or training the local communities into the Ad Hoc International Advisory Globalization process, starting with the planting of the trees of peace and reconciliation, and the undertaking of the local community ceremonies that help to bring together all of the 7 local partners, which established the local INAB collaboratives in each local community, and will from that moment forward be dedicated to empowering the local FFHEs who work closely together with the member of the local INAB collaboratives. So again, you'll find links to the Honey Project in the chat. So before we sign off, I do invite our guest speaker to join us. Today, I will pass by and instead of playing the video, so we can move on and have our guest speaker on right away. I wanted to mention though that this is a very important video that we will play at future events of this IGU Summit, but we will pass by that today so we can move and do our presentation right now. This is normally a few minutes long video. So I do want to mention as well, we are an empowerment network, a globally connected community empowerment network of local networks. So you and I, UnityNet International and UNAD, are here to help our members to create local cooperative humanitarian enterprises. These Unity Gardens that are female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs will secure and develop, supported by the members and organizations who are part of our INAB collaboratives. We want people to get to the table, to show up to the meetings where the decisions are being made. So this is what really UnityNet International is about. This is being created so we have representation at every one of the meetings where decisions are being made, especially every time there's discussions about funding. So we will be recognized for our participation. Prophet Cox and Andrew usually like to say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So we want the marginalized people to be trained, to be empowered, to go with us. This means youth, this means elders, this means rural, this means homeless, this means refugees. So they should be sitting at the table sharing their voice, using the language of holistic, collaborative, regenerative development, localized to empower the people in their own local communities, especially on behalf of the others who have been marginalized. So our network allows us to disseminate information and invitations to various events so that everyone in our network has the opportunity to participate and find a seat at that table. But they must be empowered and have the confidence and must choose to sit down at those meetings. These are the good, simple UnityNet values we want to be continuously promoted alongside the humanitarian entrepreneurship. So life value, peace education, this is what it means. I wanted to mention our Global Unity Network. Our members support people, our humanitarian entrepreneurs, in their communities and all our relations, not the corporations or the faceless entities that lack empathetic souls. So I noted yesterday, one of our UnityNet discussions, we want to make sure it happens because the next generation of children is counting on us. And we don't want to deny them fulfilling life of plenty if we use up the earth for ourselves in this generation instead of thinking of them in the future. So that really is nearing the end. I wanted to mention the Energym University Sustainable Planet Platform, which is now under development, which intends to teach values alongside academic skills and collaboration, empowering young people to change the world through love and compassion, and deliver practical skills in regenerative design. The Global Unity Network we're building is being done on the backbone of the We Energym Global Cooperation Turtle Island organization, in partnership between We the World, Energym University, and Global Cooperation Day. We're doing in Energym University in particular, what we teach through the learning programs delivered through the Global Unity Network and our Unity Gardens are the concepts of regenerative design as a professional discipline. This means applied life value peace education, which above all is a compassionate philosophy and matters as much, if not more, than the technical skills. So this is where we are changing the very system of education because we teach values alongside academics. We find that children and adults will be much happier, more successful, and will develop into great leaders. We hope that these leaders will change the future of the world for the better if we can just find a way to bring out the unique talents and potential of each and every child while empowering them to become vehicles of love, because we believe love will always conquer hate. So this ends the opening presentation of the IGU Summit today. I wanted to note that our primary tool is partnerships for the goals we set for ourselves, where the lessons are learned through the delivery of embedded understanding of Ubuntu, shown to our youth by our own example. We're delivering the learning used using the tools of mentorship and humanitarian entrepreneurship. But basically, we are a global collaboration of people dedicated to deploying local solutions for achieving a compassionate, collaborative, regenerative economy that leaves no one behind. So we do have a big mandate for a better future by mentoring the next generation of youth leaders. And I ask everyone again to put their contact information into the chat so that others on the call will have your info, especially if you're new to the IGU Summit events and the Global Unity Network. Include your name, organization, contact information, email, WhatsApp, social media, websites, anything you like. And so now I would like to invite our guest on to make his presentation.
After I insert this end slide and stop recording.
Thank you, Andrew. So that was just about exactly 1 hour.